Hi, and welcome to this Now Maths video on generating sequences from the nth term. Firstly, we need to know what the nth term is. The nth term is a single expression that describes a full sequence that starts at a specific number. Examples of expressions that represent an nth term of a sequence are on screen now. These expressions all represent linear sequences, and that means that they're all sequences that go up or down by the same amount to get from one term to the next. In this video, we'll be looking at how to generate the sequences that these nth terms represent. For our first example, we're asked to generate the first four terms of the sequence with nth term n add 5. N represents the position we are in the sequence. So if we're asked to generate the first four terms of a sequence, we need n to be 1 for the first term, 2 for the second term, 3 for the third term, and 4 for the fourth term. Of course, if we wanted to continue the sequence beyond the first four terms, we could have n as 5, n as 6, and so on. Now, the sequence that we are trying to generate is the sequence of n add 5. This means that we need to substitute our values of n into n add 5 to generate the sequence. So when n is 1, n add 5 is 1 add 5 or 6. When n is 2, n add 5 is 2 add 5 or 7. When n is 3, n add 5 is 3 add 5 or 8. And when n is 4, n add 5 is 4 add 5 or 9. So the first four terms of our sequence with nth term n add 5 are 6, 7, 8 and 9. For our second example, we're asked to generate the first four terms of the sequence with nth term n subtract 4. Similar to the previous question, we're asked to generate the first four terms, so that means our values of n are going to be 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the first, second, third and fourth terms. The sequence we're generating is n subtract 4, so we need to substitute the values of n into n subtract 4. So when n is 1, n subtract 4 is 1 subtract 4, which is negative 3. When n is 2, n subtract 4 is 2 subtract 4, which is negative 2. When n is 3, n subtract 4 is 3 subtract 4, which is negative 1. And when n is 4, n subtract 4 is 4 subtract 4, which is 0. So the first four terms of the sequence with nth term n subtract 4 are negative 3, negative 2, negative 1 and 0. For our next question, we're going to take a look at a slightly more complicated nth term. So we're asked to generate the first four terms of the sequence with nth term 3n add 2. So again, when we're asked to generate the first four terms, we need the values of n to be 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the first, second, third and fourth terms. This time, our sequence that we're generating is 3n add 2. This is an algebraic expression, and since the 3 and the n are next to each other, 3 is multiplying n and then we're adding 2. So if we start to substitute our values into 3n add 2, when n is 1, we're going to have 3 multiplied by 1 add 2. And remember, when we work this out, the multiplication becomes before addition and subtraction in the order of operations, so we need to make sure we do that here. So 3 multiplied by 1 is 3, add 2 is 5. So the first term is 5. When n is 2, we're going to have 3 multiplied by 2, add 2. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6, add 2 is 8. So the second term is 8. When n is 3, we're going to have 3 multiplied by 3, add 2. 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, add 2 is 11. And finally, for the fourth term, we're going to have 3 multiplied by 4, add 2. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12, add 2 is 14. So our fourth term is 14. And altogether, the first four terms of our sequence are 5, 8, 11 and 14. Now let's have a look at another similar question. So this time we're asked to generate the first four terms of the sequence with nth term 5n subtract 4. Again, we're generating the first four terms, so we need n to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the nth term that we have this time is 5n subtract 4. And again, this is an algebraic expression where 5 is multiplying n and then we're subtracting 4. So if we substitute 1 into 5n subtract 4, we're going to have 5 multiplied by 1 subtract 4. Again, remembering the order of operations, 5 multiplied by 1 comes first, which is 5, subtract 4 is 1. So the first term is 1. When n is 2, we're going to have 5 multiplied by 2, subtract 4. 5 multiplied by 2 is 10, subtract 4 is 6. So the second term is 6. When n is 3, we're going to have 5 multiplied by 3, subtract 4. 5 multiplied by 3 is 15, subtract 4 is 11. So the third term is 11. And finally, when we substitute for the fourth term, we're going to have 5 multiplied by 4, subtract 4, and 5 multiplied by 4 is 20, subtract 4 is 16. So the fourth term is 16, and altogether, the first 4 terms of our sequence are 1, 6, 11, and 16. Now let's have a look at the final and most difficult example in this video. So for this question, we're asked to generate the first 4 terms of the sequence with nth term 7 subtract 2n. If we're asked to generate the first 4 terms, we know that n needs to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the nth term we are given this time is 7 subtract 2n. Just like the previous couple of questions, this is an algebraic expression, and since the negative 2 and n are next to each other, it means that we need to multiply them. So when n is 1, we're going to have 7 subtract 2 multiplied by 1. And just like the previous questions, we need to remember to do the multiplication before the subtraction if we're using the orders of operations correctly. So 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. And then 7 subtract 2 will give us 5. Now when n is 2, we're going to have 7 subtract 2 multiplied by 2. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, and 7 subtract 4 is 3. Now when n is 3, we're going to have 7 subtract 2 multiplied by 3, and 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, and 7 subtract 6 is 1. Finally, when n is 4, we're going to have 7 subtract 2 multiplied by 4. 2 multiplied by 4 is 8, and 7 subtract 8 is negative 1. So the first 4 terms in our sequence are 5, 3, 1, and negative 1. Thank you so much for watching this Now Maths video on generating a sequence from its nth term. Please like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to the channel for more help with your maths. See you next time.